What are we watching this week? Well, I'm actually watching a lot of things because we have a ton of data this week. We got inflation data on Thursday, Michigan sentiment on Friday, bank earnings on Friday are kicking off earnings season. Earnings season is always a great time. And then we have Jerome Powell speaking on Tuesday before the market opens. So lots of volatility. I'm not seeing a lot of volatility coming out on Monday, really. We have a ton of volume right here spiking up from Friday. So a lot of buyers in the market on Friday. This is the SPY, so I'm getting right into the watch list here. And I see a lot of movement up, even around this like 3 at the bottom, like over here. This looks like a nice support line. So I'm looking at this 391-ish area, 391.50. And then honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised to see this 200 EMA if inflation is lower than expected. So we could even see 400 this week, which I am not counting out whatsoever, especially with all the buyers coming in right now. It looks like somebody's trying to position for that inflation data report. So we will see what happens. We could completely reject depending on what that inflation report says and what Powell says on Tuesday. So be careful. Can't really determine what direction we're in yet because we're in a really weird point in the market. As you can see, we've been chopping for 2 weeks now. So if you were to tell me which way it's going to go, I wouldn't believe you, and I would be lying to you if I told you which way I think we're going to go. So I'm just following the charts. This is a bullish engulfing as of right now, but with data, it could always get hit and turn around. QQQ, same deal here. We had a nice little bullish action. There's a resistance point at 270. If we are bullish, we have a lot of room up on the QQQ. Inflation coming down is huge for tech and growth. So 274 looks like a nice little resistance point, and I obviously have been a big advocate for the TQQQ for a very, very long time now. I know it has, volatility and theta decay because it's triple leveraged and not theta decay, but decay because of the triple leverage. But this has so much opportunity to me, especially in a bull market. I mean, if we look at the weekly all-time highs, 91. And I know it's a triple leverage stock, but look at this, $8, and then in the bull market, I'm running to 91. It's a trade. It's a trade for me for sure. But in a bull market, this is going to make a ton of money if it turns around in time. I don't think it's going to go to zero because it's triple leverage. But once we enter that bull market and everybody starts piling back into tech, boom, moneymaker for me. That's my opinion. I'm going to be in that. It's really risky. So that's one of my big watches. But one of the biggest watches this week is bank earnings. Season is coming right around the corner. Earnings season is here. So JP Morgan, Citi, and I forget what else is coming out. JP Morgan, Citi, Bank of America, a ton of earnings coming out in the banking sector. And I love this so much right now because JP Morgan has had a nice rally. They're looking really good on the charts. It looks kind of like a cup and handle situation going on right here. It looks like they're trying to break out 138 all the way up to 150 potentially. That could be great. But I'm not paying attention to JP Morgan. I'm going with kind of like a sector correlation play because look at Goldman Sachs. Look at this chart and tell me this doesn't look amazing. This is the weekly chart. Saw a nice little drop off here. Kind of starting to form like a little consolidation down here, right here, around this area. Sorry, I didn't mean to draw that. So I'm looking at this resistance point at 360. I think this 360 looks really great. This is the weekly chart, but if I look at the daily, look at this consolidation. This looks nuts to me. We're sitting right on the 200 EMA with a lot of bounces right at this level. It looks to me like the sellers are non-existent below this 200 EMA at this 340. So I may start to position for this 360 call for maybe next week, 2 weeks out. I usually do a week out so I can protect myself from theta. But watch this. Goldman Sachs, they're most likely going to be worth under 200 by Wednesday. I probably won't position to it on Monday. But 360, $385 a contract, and $925 for in the money. Goldman Sachs moves. They can move up $15, $20 in a week, whatever it may be, because they're a $348 stock. So $20 is really nothing to this if they have something to move on. So high interest rate environment, banks are making more money. There may be less demand, but they can make more money on these loans with a higher interest rate. So kind of supply and demand there and how much money they're bringing in profitability-wise. So I'm looking at this 360, kind of loving this. Not saying I'm going to take it. I still have to see what's going on and analyze JP Morgan's financials and 10K reports and all that other stuff. But 360 here could be a great play for Goldman Sachs. That is my number one watch this week. I think that the banking sector could really start kicking us off for earnings season. They have to crush it in order for this to work out. You could obviously do the downside as well. There's just as much opportunity on the downside as there is the upside. as long as the setup is there. But with the way that this chart looks, I am loving Goldman Sachs. So that is my watch list. SPY, I'm looking for that 390-ish test this week as well, 390, and then maybe that 392 for a resistance. I'm not going to count out this 398, 200 EMA depending on inflation. So lots of volatility this week. I'm loving Goldman Sachs. That's my cue. I love earnings season. I love the way it's set up right now. So if it breaks down on me, then so be it. But risk manage on the downside. That's my favorite thing I saw. So hopefully this video helps you out. And if you have any questions, let me know.